Okay, good morning, everybody. So today I'm going to do a continuation of valve guide seal replacement. So this is going to be part of our disassembling the head. We have already done a video on how to do on this cylinder head using this tool here, this valve spring compressor. I got one here off right here that's compressed already, and that's how it holds it on there. But there is another tool. So these valve springs are more accessible. So we can get this tool on this fairly easily to compress these springs. Well, if we have a cylinder head, which is very common to have a cylinder head that is difficult to work on, and so this one, if you see, the valve springs are a lot more recessed, and I don't have a lot of room to get this tool down in there and work with. And so what they do is they make a kit. And so this kit here is designed to do valve guide seals on a head that is difficult to work on. And I've got one set up over here. And so this one here is set up where you take these brackets and you bolt them down. You get the right size bolt and you bolt these down. There's a rod that goes through here. And then there's a fulcrum. And so you're going to take your fulcrum here and you're going to measure one of the valve springs to, there's little holes right here in this hole, and this pin is going to go in and line this up with one of these holes, and we're going to get that pin in there. But we want to make sure which hole to put it in, so we put this, we line it up with the valve spring, put it on here. That little groove goes to the bar, and we're going to see if we can get one lined up right there. And it looks like the first one looks pretty good right here, that first hole. And so I'm going to take that, I'm going to pin that one. Get that pinned real quick. And now I can take this compressor tool and I can lever it down, and it will compress, if you can see that, it'll compress that spring, and I can get the keepers out. So those keepers, or the retainers is what they call them, need to come off in order to get the valve spring off. And so what I'm going to do then is I find a magnetic screwdriver, or the kit also has a magnet in it somewhere. I've got to find one. I set it down somewhere. There it is. So the kit comes with this magnet right here. And it looks like you might be able to use this for installing your keepers as well on the other end. But this magnet is really strong, so now I can use this. Once I compress this valve spring down, I can use the magnet to fish out these keepers just like that. So that keeper comes out, and then I keep it down and kind of get around to the other side, and I get that other keeper out just like that. And then I can take this tool off, and there's my valve springs and my retainer cup right there. And so then what you're going to do is, the next step is to remove the valve guide seal. And so this is the valve guide seal removal tool right here, and that's in the kit as well. And so this kind of goes down inside, and you can see there's a seal right there. So this goes in and grabs that seal, and usually they're really hard to get off. This one's been off before, but that seal is sealing the valve from leaking oil into the combustion chamber. And so this seal goes over the top of the guide, and then we tip this head over, and the valve will come out through the bottom, just like that. So there's the valve. This is the seal that actually goes on top through the valve, or the valve goes through the seal, so oil doesn't get through on the shaft here, so it doesn't suck it down on the intake. So this intake stroke is going to have suction, and it wants to suck the oil down in there. That stops that from happening. Also, another check you're going to do is you're going to check your valve guide to see if it has any wear. And what you do is you stick your valve back in, and you open it up maybe a ½ an inch or so, and then you try to wiggle it back and forth and up and down and see if it has a lot of movement. It should have a little bit, but not a lot. If it has a lot, let's say, you know, I can move that valve like this much when it's that far in, like there. Then that valve guide either needs to be repaired or replaced. Some of them will be pushed in, and basically the hole in there has to be fixed. You can also knurl them. There's a tool that cuts, makes it so it brings in the sides a little bit and knurls it, and then you remachine it, and that works for a little while. Usually on diesels, you just press in the new one. You take that one out and you put in a new one. And so that is part of the inspections for our 3.2. And when I put this back together, I have to put the valve back in. I always make sure I have like a little paper towel or some kind of a towel that I can put on that valve when I set it down, because it will drop a little bit and it's hard to put those keepers back on if the valve drops. So I put that on there like that, and now I can get my spring back here. I'm going to put my spring, or actually first thing I'm going to do is my seal. I have to put, I'm going to replace these new seals. If it smokes, if your car smokes and won't pass smog, it could be these valve guide seals. Usually it's a blue tinted smoke, which means it's burning oil. And if that's the case, you can replace these valve guide seals, and that will help that problem most likely. If it's not these, it's going to be your oil rings on your pistons. This is more common problem than the piston rings being causing smoke. So these get replaced a lot. I've done a lot of these. So we're going to put that seal back down on there. Make sure it seats all the way down. You don't want to mess up the rubber part on the seal, because that is what the sealing portion is. So you're going to put new ones on, then you're going to put your spring and your retainer cup on, like that. Now, this is the tricky part. You got to get these in, and these again, you got to make sure it's the tapered side goes to the bottom. It goes down in the tapered side because it has like a little taper to them. And then we're going to put our tool back on right here and see if I can do this by hand. We're going to push that down and get the grooves in the grooves. Yep, went in there okay. Now I like to, once it's in a little bit, I'll just pull it down a little bit and spin that to the other side so that I have an easy access for the other one. And so this one's going to go in and push that down, get it down far enough to where those grooves go in, and there it's all back together. And you can kind of see the retainers are in there and that centerpiece on both sides. And that's going to be how you do valve guide seals and reassemble your head. Easy breezy.